start. It's been a year since Las Vegas, come the year, back here. What are your thoughts just being back? Hello world.
Yeah, super excited to be, working in football again. The process of getting acclimated with Mike and the staff is obviously an exciting one for me. Working with a bunch of guys that, you're getting familiar with them and learning things about them and our team and our players that we haven't had an opportunity to work with yet. But just this is why we do what we do in coaching to form these kind of relationships and hopefully build to something that we're all proud of once the season starts. So couldn't be more excited to be here and be back with this organization and working for Mike, and excited for Monday.
Josh, relative to your expectations before you had a chance to meet him and spend time with him, where has Drake Maye been relative to what you expected?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really do football with him yet, Tom, but that'll come. We'll have plenty of time here coming up next week. But I'm smitten by the young man in terms of just his personality. We've had an opportunity to spend some time that has nothing to do with football with one another, which I think has been great, very beneficial and productive to get to know him, who he is, what he's all about, what he cares about. Where he's coming from, his family, and Michael, wedding plans, all that stuff. We've kind of had an opportunity to talk about those kind of things. So, I think next week and beyond will be super fun for me to really get to know him from a football perspective and start teaching our terminology and language and seeing how he learns best and how he acclimates. But I couldn't be more excited about the young man that we have.
It's obviously very early in the process, but what's your overall feeling of confidence maybe in the state of the offensive line?
I always start each year with a fresh perspective. I wasn't here last year, and I know every player on our team is going to get a fresh start, and we're going to give everybody our best. And our job is to take the guys that we have on our offense and make them better. And I think that's a huge part of an assistant coach's job is to develop the players that you have. I know our staff is excited to start doing that next week, and we'll get to know them more as we go. But I'm confident in the guys we have working right now offensively on our staff that are preparing to teach these guys the things we want to do. And then it's a process. We'll get to know them more as we go, but excited. I've met most of them, and looking forward to meeting the rest of them.
Will you be tweaking or revamping your offense in order to suit either like the quarterback you have and the personnel you have?
Yeah, definitely. That's the short answer. I think this is always a very popular question. We have a language, and every offensive system, defensive system has a language, so you have to decide the way you want to speak in terms of calling things and naming things, and whether you use numbers, protections, or you use words, or however you do what you do. So our language has been refined a little bit between last year with the time that I had, and then this spring with the coaches. I think that's really getting streamlined. It's been great to have their perspective on it. Being in the same type of language for my entire career has been good, and probably in some ways it's been a little different than most coaches. And so these guys have done a tremendous job of helping us streamline it so that what's most important is that the players can digest whatever it is we want to do. But there's the language, and then there's the strategy part. And the language is how you talk. The strategy is all based about your players and what do we have, what are our strengths, how do we maximize the personnel that's on our team and on our offense. And that part is going to be different, like it is every year. Whether 07 was different than 12 was different than 17, everything was different than 2020. 2021 is going to be different than this year. So the strategy and what we end up doing eventually will be all about what's best for our players and how can we maximize the guys here.
How different is the language and everything for Drake, though, compared to what he had last year going to your system now?
It'll be different. I think that sometimes can get overblown because, one word is apple, another word's tomato, and one system it means one thing, and another system it means something else. And the guys, just like Men in Black, you take the thing and just wipe the memory clean from, some of the things. But a lot of it is what you called this, now we call this, and it takes them a little bit of time to acclimate to that. Our staff, we've done the same thing, and we've changed some things, and I'm in the process of doing the same thing too. So what we used to call something, now we call something else because we've agreed that it's the best thing to do for the team. So we're all going to be in that same boat. Sure, we'll come up with a friendly fine system when we use terms that don't mean anything to us now that used to. But no, I don't expect there to be, there'll be a period of adjustment, but I don't think that'll be a big deal.
Can you go deeper into what you're going through, what you just mentioned there?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a way to talk for a number of years, and so when you have a great group of guys, I can't say enough about the offensive staff, and so when we come together, we've talked about every aspect of our offense, and so you look at it and you say, okay, does that make sense now? It might have made sense 10 years ago, 5 years ago. How can we streamline it a little bit to make perfect sense and make it even better? And even though we were doing that year to year, I think it's always great to have guys that have a different perspective because they're the ones that are going to teach it when they go into the individual position room. So it's important for them to feel confident in, the way they know it. It doesn't matter how I know it if they're in a different room. So we've really done a good job of coming together. They've given me great input. We've taken a lot of their ideas and thoughts and tried to make it one. And whenever the ball gets placed down on the field, it's going to be our offense and it's our terminology, and we'll all know it by then. But